Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you need IT consulting, go to williehowe.com, click the hire us button or the contact form, fill out that information, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. What this is the fourth and final video in our first run on how to host your own email. So we brought all the pieces together, and now let's put them together. All right, so in the last video, you got all of your resources ready. And so we have a DNS exit account, which we are going to use for our email relay to bypass not having a valid pointer or reverse DNS record. We've got our Synology, which I'll do a full video on this, but it is that DS2422. We're going to install MailStation. You're going to need access to your domain. So I have bitsandbourbon.com over at Google domain. We're going to add a couple records there. And then on my router, we are going to do some DNAT. So the very first thing I want to do, though, is I want to log into, we know we're using the Synology here, so we're going to log in. And we need to do a few things here first. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Package Center, and we are going to type in mail. And we are going to do MailPlus server, and it needs to install Perl. We're going to say yes. And then after we install the MailPlus server, we are going to install the MailPlus app, which just looks like, it looks like one of the other big name email providers that we're going to do a migration video from. All right, so the Synology MailPlus server is installed. So now we're going to install MailPlus. And MailPlus is the web interface that allows your users to check their email on the inside. It allows you to use the app. It's really, really nice. And it integrates with Synology Office, Synology Contacts, Synology, I think I said Office, right? Yeah, Synology Drive, all the things. So we're going to let this install and we'll be right back. All right, so Synology MailPlus server and MailPlus are now installed. So the next thing that we're going to do real quick is we need to, since we have a dynamic IP, we're going to set up dynamic DNS on this. Now, we're going to need our Google DNS to go along with this. So we're going to set up external access. We're going to go to DDNS, and you can see there's nothing added here. So we want to use Google. And so here is my domain over here, Bits and Bourbon. So we're going to go to Show Advanced Settings. And we're going to manage dynamic DNS, and we're going to call this mail. And we're going to save that. And if you haven't messed with dynamic DNS for a while with Google, they have updated the interface. Sometimes it can take a second. So we're going to go ahead and view credentials. And be careful. There's sometimes an extra space that gets at the end of that. And so here I am talking to bits and bourbon.com, and put our username in there. And then we are going to copy the password, put it in. We're going to test the connection. Make sure the test comes back normal. That's good. Okay, so now the world knows where mail.bitsandbourbon.com exists at. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Then what we've got to do is we have to add a couple other records. Now, when we get to DNS exit, we'll add the SPF record. But now what we need is we need an MX record or a mail exchange record, exchanger record, whatever you want to call it. But what that is going to do is that is going to tell the world where to deliver email to. So it goes priority and mail server. So if you had multiple MX records, multiple servers, or multiple ways to bring email in, you could have multiple lines here. So I'm going to do 10, and I'm going to do mail.bitsandbourbon.com. I'm going to save that. So now the MX record for bitsandbourbon.com, we know that email should be delivered to mail.bitsandbourbon.com. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hop over to DNS Exit. If you haven't made a DNS Exit account, go ahead and do that, verify it. Then make sure that you come into your settings and you turn on two-factor authentication. All right, so we're going to go over to email service. Oops, I don't know what I clicked on there. And we're going to go to mail relay outbound. And right now what we're going to do is, I don't think I'm going to get past this 150 relays a day. So we're going to sign up for the free trial. And we get to select our mail relay username and password. So you need to jot this information down so that you don't forget it. So for this one, I'm going to call this email bits bourbon. And you know what? I am going to open a notepad and I'm going to write this down myself. So email bits bourbon, and then the password is going to be something generic. So don't use the same password because I am not going to, I will roll this once you see this, right? So then we got to do this little thing, ampersand FR %sign, and we are going to sign up now. All right, so now it tells us all of the SMTP ports that it will work with. They're also sending an activation email. So what you need to do is you need to go over and you need to activate. Once we've done this, we're going to continue. And now you can see here it says, warning, no SPF. Please set up sender domains. So our domain is going to be bitsandbourbon.com. So we'll add the domain. And in that email that we got, there is a text string that it shows us to use for SFP, but it's right here as well too, right? And since only DNS Exit is going to be sending email to the world as us, we're going to copy that. We're going to manage our custom records. We're going to add a custom record. It is just a text record. We're going to leave the host name blank. The TTL will be 10 minutes, and we will paste this in. We're going to go ahead and save that. And so now we've got, let's see, we've got our dynamic DNS. We've got our, for some reason, our MX record didn't stick around. Maybe I forgot to click save. So we're going to redo that again. mail.bitsandbourbon.com. We will save that. So now we have our MX record and our SPF, Sender Policy Framework. And what this does is this tells email servers who is allowed to send email as your domain. So we've got the pieces that we need. So we've got the sender domain set up. We're going to verify the SPF. And now it is verified. DKIM, we can set that up later. We'll do another email. We're going to do a whole lot of Synology MailPlus server videos. So what we're going to do now is we are going to open MailPlus server. And the first time you open it, it's going to ask you to create an email system, migrate from Synology or migrate from Exchange. And we're going to create new. And we are going to tell it we want the local users, and it's going to be bound on this network interface. Also, I did create a static mapping in my router so that this IP doesn't change. You do not want this IP changing. The domain name is going to be bitsandbourbon.com. Our FQDN for this box is going to be mail.bitsandbourbon.com, and we're going to operate on volume 1. We're going to click next and apply. And it is going to go through and apply all of these settings. All right, so you can see that our process is done. We're going to click finish. Now, there's a couple of other things that we've got to do. So we've got to go to mail delivery. And of course, to send email out, we have to authenticate here, which is what we want. But under this delivery tab, what we want to do is we want to say all mails are sent through a single relay host. And they gave us the host over here and all of the information, and in in the email that was sent to you when you activated this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and I'm going to pull that information real quick. And it is going to be relay.dnsexit.com, port 25, because my ISP does not block 25. We do need authentication, and I noted that username and password. So it was email bits bourbon, and then that super complicated password. And we are going to hit apply. Now that means that any email we send now out of the Synology MailPlus server is going to be relayed through DNS Exit. So the next thing we need to do is we need to come down to accounts, and we need to activate. So with the MailPlus server, you get 5 free licenses for this, and you can add more licenses if you have a high availability setup. You get 10 licenses. And so here what we're going to do is for my Howe account, we are going to activate. Now you can see these other 2 accounts. I don't run the admin or the guest account. Those are disabled, but I have now activated one of my licenses for my user. And there are so many settings that we're going to get to as we do these videos. So under domain, we can also come in here and edit this, and default email address, we can change how it is displayed, but we can see the users here. So my email address by default is whow@bitsandbourbon.com. Now I can edit this and I can add Willie@bitsandbourbon.com. So now I can receive and send at both of those emails. So I can do groups, aliases, auto blind, carbon copy, usage limits, disclaimers. So disclaimers are like outbound footers. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And so now the basic setup of the server is done. So if I go over here and I go to Synology MailPlus, it's going to open up this very familiar looking interface. But we don't want to send or receive yet. So the next thing that we've got to do is we've got to do our port forwarding on our router. Now you can use port forwarding. What I did was I created this group that has all of the ports in it that we need. And we need port 25, which is SMTP, 110, which is POP3, 143, which is IMAP, 465, which is SMTP SSL, 587, which is SMTP TLS, 993, which is IMAP over SSL or TLS, and 995, which is POP3 over SSL or TLS. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my firewall policies. I'm going to edit my WAN in, and your mileage may vary. If you're doing port forwarding, you don't need to worry about this because it handles all the NAT for you. But I've got a lot of port forwards and things. And so I am doing this one via NAT. So I'm going to add a new rule, and this is going to be Synology email ports. It's going to be accept TCP. Source is any. Destination is going to be that port group. And we'll move that there. And save it. And then we just have to do a DNAT rule. So we're going to add a DNAT rule, and this is going to be Synology email ports, inbound interface ETH0. Translation, this is the IP address of the Synology. By the way, you probably noticed that that port says 5000. Yes, we're going to do a full setup securing this box here shortly. So we are going to translate to 66.148 TCP, and the destination port groups are going to be that Synology email ports. So now that is done. Now I don't plan on accessing this internally using the FQDN at the moment, but when we get to that, we'll show you how to do the hairpin NAT setup on that. All right, so I think we are ready to see if we can get I'm going to have to see if we can get an email to go. So I'm going to compose an email. We're going to send it to Willie at howex5.com. It's going to be from Willie. Email server. Is your email server working? So I'm going to send that, and we are going to see if I receive that over at my mailbox. Received anything yet? I do know that my ISP does not block 25, but I could also have the relay information incorrect. Okay, so I had inadvertently forgot to click the activation link, so everything is actually okay. I just had to activate the DNS Exit account. So here is the email, and what I'm going to do now is I am going to reply. I'm going to say, yes, it did, and send. And so now, anytime, we should, with a little bit of luck, get that email in the inbox here. All right, so it took just a minute, and you can see there it is. So we are now sending and receiving email for bitsandbourbon.com without a pointer record, using a connection with a dynamic IP address, using all those pieces that we had. All right, that's it for this video. If you want to see a video about email behind CGNAT, if you've got some other scenarios that you want, obviously static IP, we can do that as well with the pointer records, all that good stuff. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see next. We're definitely going to do some tuning MailPlus server videos. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. Please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Those links are down below. If you need IT consulting, go to williehowe.com, click the Hire Us button, fill out that information. We'll be back with you as soon as possible. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a patron on Patreon or using all of our clearly marked affiliate links, they are down below. They don't change your price, but they do kick a couple bucks to the channel. Once again, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.